Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new channel called AudioBooks Cafe. Today we're kicking off a new series where we'll be diving into The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. This classic mystery, first published in 1926, is full of twists and turns, and I am so excited to be sharing it with you. We'll be reading it chapter by chapter, and in today's episode we're starting with Chapter 1, Dr. Sheppard at the Breakfast Table. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's jump into this intriguing story. If you enjoyed the narration, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any future chapters. Let's get started. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Chapter 1. Dr. Sheppard at the Breakfast Table. Mrs. Ferrars died during the night of September the 16th, 17th, a Thursday. I was called to her home early Friday morning, the 17th, around 8 o'clock. There was nothing I could do. She had been dead for several hours. I arrived back home a little after 9. I unlocked the front door and took my time in the hallway, hanging up my hat and light coat to ward off the early autumn chill. Truth be told, I was quite upset and worried. I didn't foresee the events of the coming weeks, but I had a strong feeling that things were about to get interesting. From the dining room, I heard the clinking of teacups and my sister Caroline's distinct short, dry cough. "Is that you, James?" she called out. A pointless question, really. Who else would it be? The real reason for my delay was Caroline herself. Mr. Kipling tells us that the mongoose family's motto is go and find out. If Caroline had a family crest, it would certainly feature a mongoose. Caroline doesn't need to go anywhere to gather information. She seems to know everything while staying at home. I suspect the servants and tradesmen are her source of intelligence. When she does go out, it's to spread information, not gather it. She's an expert at that, too. This trait of hers was causing my hesitation. Anything I told Caroline about Mrs. Ferris's death would be all over the village within an hour and a half. As a professional, I value discretion, so I've developed a habit of withholding information from my sister. She usually finds out anyway, but at least I know I'm not to blame. Mrs. Ferris's husband died a little over a year ago, and Caroline has constantly claimed, without any evidence, that his wife poisoned him. She dismisses my explanation that Mr. Ferris died from acute gastritis exacerbated by heavy drinking. The symptoms of gastritis and arsenic poisoning are similar, but Caroline's accusations are based on different reasoning. "Just look at her," she would say. Mrs. Ferris was an attractive woman, and her clothes, though simple, always fit her perfectly. But plenty of women buy their clothes in Paris without having poisoned their husbands. As I stood in the hallway thinking all this over, Caroline's voice came again, sharper this time. "What on earth are you doing out there, James? Why don't you come and have your breakfast?" "I'm coming, my dear," I replied quickly, "just hanging up my coat." "You could have hung up 6 coats by now." She was right. I could have. I walked into the dining room, gave Caroline the usual peck on the cheek, and sat down to my cold eggs and bacon. "You had an early call," remarked Caroline. "Yes," I said. "King's Paddock, Mrs. Ferrars." "I know," said my sister. "How did you know?" "Annie told me." Annie, our housemaid, is a nice girl but a notorious gossip. There was a pause. I continued eating my breakfast. Caroline's long, thin nose quivered at the tip, as it always did when she was excited or interested. "Well?" she demanded. "A bad business. Nothing to be done. She must have died in her sleep." "I know," my sister repeated. This time I was annoyed. "You can't know," I snapped. "I didn't even know until I got there, and I haven't told anyone yet. If Annie knows, she must be a clairvoyant." "It wasn't Annie who told me, it was the milkman. He heard it from the Ferris's cook." "Caroline doesn't need to go out for information. It comes to her." "What did she die of, heart failure?" Caroline asked. Didn't the milkman tell you that? I asked sarcastically. Sarcasm is wasted on Caroline. She takes it literally and answers accordingly. He didn't know, she explained. Caroline was bound to find out eventually. She might as well hear it from me. She died from an overdose of Veronal. She'd been taking it for sleeplessness. She must have taken too much. Nonsense, Caroline said immediately. She did it on purpose. Don't tell me otherwise. It's odd how when someone voices a secret belief of yours, it can provoke a furious denial. I immediately launched into an indignant response. You're doing it again, I said, jumping to conclusions without any real reason. Why on earth would Mrs. Ferris want to commit suicide? She's a fairly young widow, very well off, in good health, with nothing to do but enjoy life. It's absurd. Not at all. Even you must have noticed how different she's looked lately. It's been going on for the last 6 months. She's looked positively haunted, and you admitted she hasn't been able to sleep. And what's your diagnosis? I asked coldly. An unfortunate love affair, I suppose. Caroline shook her head. Remorse, she said with great conviction. Remorse? Yes. You never believed me when I said she poisoned her husband. I'm more convinced than ever now. I don't think you're being logical, I objected. Surely, if a woman committed murder, she'd be cold-blooded enough to enjoy the benefits without any sentimental feelings of repentance. Caroline shook her head again. There might be women like that, but Mrs. Ferris wasn't one of them. She was a bundle of nerves. An overpowering impulse drove her to get rid of her husband because she couldn't endure suffering. And being married to a man like Ashley Ferris must have caused her a lot of pain. I nodded. And ever since then, she's been haunted by what she did. I can't help feeling sorry for her. I doubt Caroline ever felt sorry for Mrs. Ferris while she was alive. Now that she's gone, where parish dresses are presumably irrelevant, Caroline is ready to indulge in pity and understanding. I told her firmly that her idea was nonsense. I was especially firm because I secretly agreed with at least part of what she said. But it's wrong for Caroline to arrive at the truth just by guessing. I wasn't going to encourage that. She'll spread her theories around the village and everyone will think she's speaking on my medical authority. Life is very trying. Nonsense, Caroline replied. You'll see. I bet she's left a letter confessing everything. She didn't leave any letter, I said sharply, not realizing where this admission would lead. Oh, said Caroline. So you did inquire about that, didn't you? I believe, James, that deep down you think very much like I do. You're just a stubborn old humbug. One always has to consider the possibility of suicide, I said, trying to maintain my authority. Will there be an inquest? There might be. It depends. If I can declare that the overdose was definitely accidental, we might avoid an inquest. And are you absolutely satisfied? Asked my sister shrewdly. I didn't answer, but got up from the table. And that's the end of this chapter of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. The plot is thickening, and there are many questions left unanswered. What will happen next? Join me in the next episode to find out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of this gripping story. Thanks for listening, and see you next time at Audiobooks Cafe.